Okay, can you hear me, Talia? Okay, can you hear me? Testing. Okay, Let's see. Can you hear me? Not on. Hold on. Can you still hear me? Talia? Yeah. On the speaker? I can't hear you on yours. Let's see. Hi, Santa Maria Conference Room. I still cannot hear you. It shows that your audio is off.
Oh, can you hear me? Test, test. Sit wherever you want. His traditional chair.
Yeah. You're not offended.
Cool. Can you hear me now?
You mute me? Can you hear me? Yes. Oh, perfect. Got it. Okay. Bye. All right, you're all set. So that's gonna be for you. And you can just, unmute and mute it whenever.
When I need to.
Yes, when you want to.
the November meeting of the Agriculture Preserve Advisory Committee. Could we have first,
The roll call,
Cool.
Matt Mayton. One second. There we go. We'll do roll call. We'll start with Matt Mayton.
Here.
Sergio Ricardo.
Here.
David Lackey.
here?
Alex.
Here.
And then Royce Larson is joining remotely from the Santa Maria Conference Room.
Here.
And then we have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. And now we have the time on our agenda for any public comments for items that are not on our agenda. Is there anyone that would like to speak on general public comment?
We do not have any public comment.
Okay, great, thank you. So I'll close the public comment period. Now we'll consider the minutes from our October 9th meeting for any revisions or amendments.
I can make a very small, it's a typo. I think it's on Aaron's last name. I think it should be spelled Zambrano. So change the O to an A. Is that correct, Aaron?
What item is that for? Oh, for you. I'm so sorry. Okay, I will correct that.
Okay, any other edits or discussion? So I'll make a motion that we approve the October 9th minutes as amended.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Matt Mayton,
Aye.
Sergio Ricardo.
Aye.
David Lackey,
Aye.
Alex.
Aye.
Royce Larson,
I abstain. I wasn't here last meeting.
and then vote carries 4-0.
Okay, great, thank you. Now we'll consider any requests for continuances of items on the agenda. Teresa, have we gotten any requests for continuances from any of the applicants?
We did not get any continuances.
Okay, great. All right, so let's move into our standard agenda for continued items. So the first two are related. We have the Baseline LLC replacement contract. So we'll consider that one first. Adam Orta is the planner and Angela Janes is the agent. We have Angela or Brett here for items 1 and 2.
Morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm Brett Jones here.
Okay, great. So we had continued these items to have additional time for the applicant team to compile some of the information that was requested by the committee back in, I think, August. And so is there additional information you have to present, Brett?
Yes, thank you for that additional time. You should see this new mapping here, which if we can take, if I can talk about both projects, I know they're separate replacement contracts, but again, this was a lot line adjustment between the two parcels. Now bringing them both to over 40 acres, Ag 240 zoning. And lot 1, as you see here, is a principal boarding and breeding operation. It's a polo operation, equestrian operation, and they have 25 acres of irrigated pasture, which you'll see here on the map shown now. And then you'll see the horse pens down there in the kind of the lower left. Exactly. And then when you go to lot 2, we have a more focused site plan on your next sheet, which describes all of the different operations. And I do have supporting documents in the file. So basically on the left here, there's 19 acres of irrigated pasture that has been seeded and is in the process, has been irrigated. You'll see some pics of some of the pasture starting to come up. And then they also have a cut floral operation that we reviewed last time. And then I do have some leases in there for, which you'll see as item number, or location number 3 in the center there. Basically all the different locations identified by our legend. So it's a, biodiversity farm, has quite a bunch of different elements, including the 19 acres of irrigated pasture that is leased by the owners of property lot number 1. You should see that lease in the supporting documents as well. So basically, we just went back and tried to identify all the different ag operations happening that are, set here in this legend, and then provided supporting documentation in terms of leases and pictures. I should say, while we're here on this, you'll see the non-ag personal use area we've identified as that polygon at 14. So it's 3% of the parcel at the, just at 1.23 acres. It's a little arbitrary, the loop around, because that barn number 10, as you'll see there, is used for the cut flower operation, and obviously trucks use that loop around. So I probably could have removed a little bit out of that. I just put the total amount allowed in this polygon. Does that make sense?
Brett, for the calculation for number 14, is that what you were talking about?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
You'll see there's kind of that loop around some trees, and obviously a truck coming into 10 would still use that. So it, that portion could be considered, at least in my opinion, dual purpose, which would reduce me down even less than the 1.23. But it created a little bit of a finger for that guest house, and I know we're not supposed to have a finger sticking out there.
Is that pond in the, I guess, southeast corner, is that used for the agriculture?
Yes, they use that for irrigation.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know when this information was posted. I didn't see it in the folder yesterday. So was it just posted recently?
Yeah, I thought it was in there. I thought I saw it there last week. Do you not see other things in the folder? Pictures and
It was uploaded on the 10th.
The 10th, okay. Maybe.
It was that Monday. We were having a similar issue where we were in contact with Brett, and we were not seeing it. It took a few, like we had to sign out and sign back in, and yeah, I think it's a box issue.
Did we lose our map view? Yeah, thank you. So Brett, just to kind of, you had mentioned that the irrigated pastures leased to the Baseline LLC owners. What was if you summed up all of the other planted acreage, what was the sum for that?
let's see. So we would be number 7 should be 19, and 3, I believe, is another 3, and then 1 is another 2. So I think we're about 25 acres of irrigated pasture and or cut flower. I'm not sure what what you would call that, but I guess that would be a crop planted.
And then 4 is used for what purpose? Is that personal? Is it part of the agriculture operation?
I can't see on here, David, where 4 is.
It's just those paddocks below the cut flowers.
Oh no, those are also leased. For those are leased for horses as well to the neighbor. Sorry, I should have printed this out. So I was looking at it too.
Sergio, any questions? Royce?
I have one question. Looking through the lease that was part of the packet, it talks about a polo field. Can you explain?
Yeah.
How that fits in and what it is and?
Sure. So if you go back to the A1, yeah, thank you, David, or Teresa, who's ever doing that. So if you go a little bit north on the page for parcel 1, that's the polo field. So that's the principal boarding and breeding operation for lot 1. That's the irrigated pasture polo field.
And is it used for grazing in addition to polo and?
Yes.
Okay.
And then Brett, you had mentioned on lot 2, the least 19 acres that it's been seeded. Is there irrigation in place, irrigation equipment in place for that
Yeah.
portion?
Yeah. I think you'll see a couple pictures in there of some of that. And I think I provided some invoicing for the irrigation as well. And the seeding.
I guess, can you give us an update on the lot line adjustment? Is that already approved? And
Yes.
maybe Alex, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Sergio. Yeah, it's all approved. I think this is my last thing, is just getting the contracts replaced.
So, excuse me. The owners for both Baseline and Ecomama haven't been responding to the annual questionnaire, Brett. I can send one to you and then have them fill it out. Would that work?
Sure. Yeah, I've been working directly with the EcoMama owners, and they work more directly with the Baseline LLC. So I'll make sure that they get, those filled out, and then we get them back to you.
Thank you. Yeah. I still don't see those documents.
So, no.
Okay, found it. Their title, Pusnick Site A1 and A-2.
Matt or Alex, any comments or questions?
Yeah, just a quick question. The cut flower, is that gonna be a wholesale operation?
Yes, it is.
Is it operating right now or is it?
Yeah, they've been operating for years now.
Okay.
Which one was the other document you wanted me to open up? It's this one, right?
Yeah, I
That's
think it's the
one.
site map.
It's this.
Okay.
No more questions from here.
Okay, Alex, anything?
No questions.
All right, so why don't we take these in order? So are there any members of the public that would like to speak on item number 1, Baseline LLC replacement contract?
We did not have any public comment.
Okay. So I will make a motion that the committee find the request for replacement contract consistent with the uniform rules.
I'll second.
Mr. Chair, you want to identify the item number 170, contract number
I was
7?
getting a new contract number, that's why.
Right. Okay. Sorry.
But yeah, it's for the Baseline LLC replacement contract is our findings.
I guess just to clarifying that we're doing one for each item, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just speaking on item number 1, taking a motion on that.
Okay, so we'll do roll call. Matt Mayton,
Aye.
Sergio Ricardo, David Lackey,
Aye.
and then Alex,
Aye.
and then Royce,
I,
and then vote carries 5-0.
Okay, great, thank you. Then for continued item number 2, the EcoMama replacement contract. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak on this item?
We do not have any public comment.
Okay. So I will make a motion that we find the request for replacement contract consistent with the uniform rules.
I'll second.
And then we'll do roll call. Alex,
Aye.
David Lackey,
Aye.
Sergio Ricardo,
Aye.
Matt Mayton,
Aye.
Royce Larson,
I,
and then vote carries 5-0.
Okay, great, thank you. And then I guess we'll continue with onto our new items. Another item for Brett and Emily Fisher is the planter. This is Ethel Oak Ranch LLC Reservoir. Is Emily here online?
Yes, she is. Let's see. Okay, Emily, you could go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, Emily, if you just want to give a quick overview and then Brett can add any additional information.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a conditional use permit and a land use permit going up for this same project site. It's the construction and operation of a new reservoir for the irrigation of pastures and orchard areas on an existing ag preserve property, as well as the land use permit being for a barn and subsequent offices and operations. So Brett, you can add on there if you would like.
Sure. Thank you, Emily. So this is a property out in Rancho Seguro, over 100 acres, so non-prime contract that originally had been developed by the Chevarria family. They had gotten full permits for barns and houses and actually graded an arena, put in a cistern, and then never went forward on constructing any of the barns or the houses that were approved. It's had multiple owners since then. I believe that was maybe early 2000s. And my client purchased it early this year and wants to develop a principal boarding and breeding operation on site. We did first come in with the CUP for the reservoir, and then because at that time I wasn't sure how quickly they were going to be designing the barn. Well, they ended up designing it quite quickly, and I was able to work with Emily and get the land use permit submitted, and tried to get it on the agenda, both on the agenda for today. So I believe we were able to revise the agenda via Teresa and Emily for today to get the barn included. So long story short, it's a reservoir and a barn for a principal boarding and breeding operation. The property had previously been developed with an arena, riding arena, which you'll see in some of the pictures that I sent. We have currently about 6 acres of irrigated pasture, you'll see in the pictures, and then a lot of fencing. There's a picture of the well there, and with a plan to irrigate pasture about 20, I think it's about 25 acres that we show on the irrigation mapping. Pictures you'll see there are of they do have 4 Black Angus cattle on site now and 8 Highland cattle with 2 bulls and 6 horses on site. I don't have all the boarding. Obviously, we're trying to get some of the approved infrastructure in place so that we can get to our 20 acres of irrigated pasture requirement. So I don't have all the boarding agreements at this point, but that would be the primary use of the property would be a principal boarding and breeding operation. 4 horses. They do have a couple acres of fruit trees planted now and a little farm area with no crop farming yet, but a proposed area for some chickens and some other light crops down in the kind of the southwest corner. Should have a larger. There might be another set, Dave. I'm not sure who's doing the thing, but there's another. There we go.
The plant's at 25055.
There we go.
there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah, thank you. That shows the proposed areas. Right, that front picture you'll see is that irrigated pasture. It's fenced. It's about 5 acres right off the street, all the way to the far right.
Over here.
Top
Yeah,
right.
Over here.
Sorry, right below that, the first one you look where the well. Yeah, exactly. That's where the picture was taken. So that about 5 acres in there is irrigated. Not just irrigated, planted, sorry, and fenced.
So Brett, can you go over the sequencing of your other, I mean, this is an application for the reservoir. And
Yeah,
you,
the barn, yeah.
okay, and is that going to be the extent of the barn that's going to support the principal animal boarding? There's
Correct.
no, okay, so they're going to be combined in the same CUP.
Well, we have a land use permit for the barn, which we just got in, and then the CUP for the reservoir.
Okay.
That's the extent of development at this point. We did kind of identify a potential location for a main residence. There are no plans at this point for the main residence.
So on the western side of the property, that's 7 acres of irrigated pasture. How is that accessed? It doesn't look like there's any historic ag roads, or I don't see any proposed roads going to that location. It looks like it's up
Yeah.
on a mesa.
It is. There is down across beyond, well, just past where it says Orchard, that bottom left. There's kind of a flat area down there, and there's a road that you climb back up. So now further to the right, past the little orchard note, keep going, keep going, keep going. A little further right. There's a valley right down in there is how you come down and then get back up to that. But there's no, it's just a lightly graded dirt road, ag road.
So maybe just in terms of the reservoir itself, I'm trying to understand the, I guess the efficiencies of, because that's just going to be served by groundwater. It's not capturing any substantial runoff in terms of a watershed. So I'm just trying to think of the efficiency of building a reservoir and filling it that has some evaporation compared to having the wells and the irrigation system just linking the different pastures.
Yeah.
And pumping directly.
From what they're telling me, it is like so expensive to just be pumping from the well to irrigate all these pastures that they've talked to SJ Farming up here that had recommended the reservoir, Steve Jacobson Farming, to irrigate rather than trying to do it directly from the well.
And then the question on the orchard, what type of orchard is it currently?
So if you go to the far left there, Teresa, it's they have pear, pomegranate. I think they actually might have a couple avocado in there. I have the receipts I included. Can't remember what else was in there. There might be apple as well in some of in that invoicing. So you should see seeding, irrigation, fencing, and the fruit trees in some of the. I did provide a lot of documents that Emily helped me get uploaded in the last couple days. Here we go. Yeah. So some avocado. I think the next page might have more. Yeah, there we go. Apricot, peach, plum, pomegranate.
So this is all future orchard, or is there any existing planted?
Yeah, there's this existing planted about an acre and a half. You'll see a
Okay.
picture.
So those are just the receipts from the purchase of the trees
Correct.
that have already been planted. Okay.
I do have a picture in the folder somewhere.
So my only question, Brett, is about the assumption of the contract. You mentioned that the current owner recently acquired this property. I didn't see it. Are you planning on recording the assumption soon? Do you know anything?
Yeah, Sergio, I just did it on Monday. I just applied on Monday. I've got the when you do it through a seller, you get like the initial number. So I have 25 INT 00906 is the case number. I haven't paid a fee yet. And once that happens, then I'll get the AGP number.
Thank you.
I should have done it a while ago. I just forgot to do it.
And yes, yeah, their annual reports are filed every year. So good. they're good there.
Matt or Royce, any comments or questions on your end?
I don't have any questions, thanks.
Okay. Alex?
No questions.
Just kind of going back to that, is there any phasing of all of these irrigated pasture areas, or they're going to be sort of a continuous bringing them? That western area just seems like it's going to be additional cost and time to extend the irrigation infrastructure down to that location. But is there any phasing of the different pastures that you're doing?
So, Teresa, if you could go up to maybe one sheet that shows the overall again. That's perfect. Yeah. So my understanding of the phasing is the first 5 acres is in now. The irrigation is in for the additional 3 acres to make up that front 8 acres. And then you have the 3.5, which is right next to the arena and the barn. That's the next phase, along with the 6 acres on the southern section. So I think all of that border stuff will happen in short order. And then that pasture will happen once the reservoir is installed. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay. Not seeing any other comments from our committee members. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak on this item?
We do not have any public comment.
Okay. I will then make a motion that we find the requests for Ethel Oak Ranch LLC Reservoir and Barn to be consistent with the uniform rules.
I'll second.
Then we'll do roll call.
You're
not done.
Yeah, well, I'll amend my motion just to add to that I wanted just to get the principal animal boarding section. Yes, and that, yes, with the irrigated pasture qualifies and consistent with, as a principal boarding and breeding facility, consistent with Uniform Rule 2-3.2. And that contract 86 AP 029 meets ongoing eligibility requirements.
Okay, and then we'll proceed with roll call. Matt Baton,
Aye.
Sergio Ricardo.
Aye.
David Lackey,
Aye.
and then Alex.
Aye.
Royce Larson.
Aye.
The vote carries 5-0.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Brett. Thank you,
Thank
Emily.
you. I will, David, I'll stay on for number 7 and number 8.
Okay,
If
great.
you guys need me.
Okay, thank you. And then Teresa, I'm not sure if Stephanie had talked to you about item number 4. I think when I had provided you with the updated projection report. So this was, just to provide some background, this was one of the items that we had requested the chair to send a 30-day notice to the property owner, and I put it on the projection report for this month, but the 30-day notice hadn't gone out yet. So I think my recommendation is that we just drop this from the agenda until we know what month it'll be on based on the 30-day notice.
Okay, sounds good.
So that would be my motion. Is there any members of the public that would like to speak on the requested dropping of the item from the agenda?
We do not have any public comment.
Okay, great. So a motion to drop this item from the agenda.
Can I just make a comment
Sure.
that I always get very nervous when we just drop items? Just because, but I know that we're waiting and the letter will, make this happen. So just wanted to express it. I always get very nervous when we drop and there's a chance that there may not be a follow-up. But I'm confident that because we're waiting for the chair to send a 60-day letter, it will be scheduled.
Yes.
And it'll remain in our projection report, so it should be.
Yeah, and I did
Okay.
receive email from the chair this morning that the 30-day notice is in process. So based on the timing of exactly when that goes out, we can then better forecast what date to put it on the agenda. So understand your concern.
Having said all that, I'll second the motion.
Okay. So I have a motion and a second.
The roll call, Madam Eaton,
I,
Sergio Ricardo.
Aye.
David Lackey,
Aye.
Alex.
Aye.
Royce Larson,
I,
vote carries 5-0.
Okay, great. Thank you. So we'll move on to item number 5 and number 6 that are related. Item number 5 is Charles Minetti LLC. This is contract 69 AP073. And under the same existing contract is item number 6. This is Jesse and June Smith Trust. Both of these properties are in the Cheapsake area. And I do think we have some of the owner representatives for these properties. Could you just provide your name and then,
Charles Benetti.
okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Minetti. And then maybe Sergio, in terms of just the
Just to give you a little
background context, yes.
Yeah, so contract, we're talking about contract 69-AP-073. Originally included a number of assessor parcel numbers. I think there were 5 assessor parcel numbers in the original contract. And recently, but not too recently, back in March of 2023, there was a sale of some of those parcels, and that was evidenced by a document recorded again March 17, 2023, and the contract was split. So now we have one of the parcels is now under the Smiths, and the other 4 are owned by the Charles Minetti LLC.
Do we have I'm just trying to find do we have a map of the different parcels in the?
The different parcels, 131-150-12. And we have 13. Originally, the contract included 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. But 16 was given a new contract. That was actually not, okay, so that is not part of this. So 12, 13, 14, and 15. 12, 13, and 15 were sold in 2023, and 14 remained under the old ownership.
First, I'm going to share my screen just to bring up the aerial photo. This is parcel 12. And this is parcel 14, owned by Smiths.
So yeah, that was retained by the Smiths.
13, that
Mhm.
was retained by Mr. Minetti family.
Correct?
Parcel 12. And then what's the other one, 15?
15.
15. Okay, so I can visualize, so it essentially it's parcel 12 and parcel 15 are now owned by the Minettis, and they were originally part of the original Smith property. Is that the?
Correct. But, okay, so 12, 13, 14, and 15 were originally owned by the Smiths. 12, 13, and 15 sold to Charles Minetti LLC. And 14 was retained by the Smiths.
Okay, so this is 14. So this is what was of the original contract, what was
Mhm.
retained by the Smiths,
Right.
and then the other parcels are now owned by the Minetti.
By Charles Minetti LLC. Correct. Yeah. Originally, there was a fifth parcel, but that is
Got
not
its
part
own
of this. That already has its own contract.
And Mr. Minetti, I believe, and you're Mr. Smith? Okay, nice to meet you. I think our chair, who is not here today, Stephanie Stark, had reached out to you in telephone conversations. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so as far as the uniform rules, just to kind of recount, the original contract was owned by the Smiths, and the uniform rules, you're only allowed to have one owner per whatever parcels under contract. And since there was a change of ownerships, each of now the resulting holdings need to look at to see whether or not they would qualify to get their replacement ag reserve contract.
See, when I purchased this, I knew it was under the Williamson Act, the 3 parcels, and it ties in with my other property that's on the south side of Tepesquay Road. That's why I acquired it. And I didn't know till I got this letter. And we use it, nothing has changed. We use it, there's like 12 to 14 acres of dry farm ground we raise hay on for our own use, and the rest is pasture land. Some of it's wasteland because it's steep and a lot of brush, but anyway, nothing has changed as far as the use of it. Well, that's all I could tell you for right now.
But those 3 parcels, they were recent additions that you purchased.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's sort of one of the issues that would need to be resolved is that now,
Yeah.
because the original contract boundaries and ownership have changed, there's different approaches that,
Lady here this morning advised me that I would have to go to Foster Road and reapply an application to put this in. Does that sound right?
correct. So one of the processes, since all the land was in the original contract that was owned by the Smiths, now
We just want 12,
the
13.
acreage now that you would have to look at getting your own contract or, potentially, I didn't look at, whether or not that could be added if your other existing lands that are under contract are immediately adjacent to that. Maybe it can be added to that contract, but it still means amending the contract. So the process would be to get a replacement ag preserve contract.
Yeah.
And then we'd have to look at, the other uniform rule requirements of whether or not it would be eligible based on agriculture and everything else.
That's what we use. The only thing I see, I could go to Foster Road and get the information or give them the information that I need, but I see your next meeting's on December the 11th. And I'm gonna be out of town for.
Oh, don't worry about that. Yeah, there's plenty. Yeah. we want to work with you to,
Okay.
you know,
I appreciate
help
it.
answer your questions. And then also, you know, there isn't, you know, any, I mean, we want to move forward on it, but there isn't any timeline by the end of the year that you need to, so you wouldn't have to worry about that. And certainly the planning development people at Foster Road can help answer your questions and what
Okay.
applications you would need to do.
Yeah, so the question would be if you want to get a separate, if you want to get a separate contract for these three
These
parcels that
instead
you
of
just
what,
bought, or if you want to combine it into the existing contract that you already own, that would be, you know, it's your choice, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
If you want um, to do separate contracts, they, you know, both contracts have to be reviewed that, you know, to make sure that they meet the eligibility requirements. I'm sorry, can't speak today. I'm sure there's no issues, but anyway.
the other one being it's already in place, if that makes any sense, maybe this should start a new contract, maybe for these three, I don't know,
Uh-huh. Um,
whatever's the simplest.
yeah. Well, you know, I'm looking at the one that's existing that you own, and that also may need a replacement contract. I can check. I didn't check it before this meeting. It's a separate issue. Um, hmm, I can check it. If you go down, where,
It's these ones down here.
yeah. And I do show them as,
There's 7 parcels in that other piece of property across the road.
Yeah, so it's, I see this.
My property tax statement comes 7.
so just for the committee on that other one, and I'm not sure if it's okay to just make a comment about that contract, is that the assessor is showing it as an unofficial, with unofficial, an unofficial
So
split
that
also.
maybe sometime in the past it was part of a different.
Yeah, so, but I didn't do any research before today.
But, so I'm just confirming, so this is one of the parcels, this is parcel 13 that's involved in this current transaction, and it's immediately adjacent
Mhm.
to
It is
Mr.
immediately
Lenetti's contract, which is 70A 1037 or whatever.
correct.
At
So
least
there
in
wouldn't be-
proximity, that's one of the, you know, since it's immediately touching your other contract to the south, that's one possibility of potentially adding these 3 parcels that were into that other contract. Or you certainly could, you know, have your separate contract for these 3 parcels. The process is going to be the same in terms of getting a replacement contract, because even the larger contract to the south, because you're going to be adding new parcels, you have to revise the contract boundaries and get a replacement contract for those. So I guess you could ask, you know, think of the benefits or cons of either one and answer questions from the assessor's office.
The first step for me then is to go to Foster Road and get application to add these 3 parcels or to start a new contract.
Or get a replacement contract. And so, yeah, you can probably reach out to Stephanie Stark or reach out to myself. And we can help you, one, answer any other questions that you might have in terms of if you went one path for a new replacement contract or combine the 2. And then based on your decision, then we can put you in contact with Foster Road people of what information you need to apply for an application to get the replacement contract.
Thank you very much. Any other questions?
I do, and Mr. Smith, so the other property is this one, right? And so that's of the original contract that Smith held. This is the singular remaining parcel. It's a 40-acre property. And I think what I had talked to the chair, Stephanie Stark, in your conversation is that there's some irrigated or dry farming that happens on the property.
On my piece?
or Mr. Smith's?
They're connected by side, so yes, there is.
Okay. So as far as, the rules for the ag preserve contract, the minimum size of contract is 40 acres. You probably know a lot of this. I'm not saying anything that you don't know, but just to kind of put it in context. And those 40 acres, because of their size, are considered prime contracts. There are uniform rules. One of the commercial looks at what's the commercial agriculture, and those parcels are too small for cattle grazing operations, so it has to be typically some commercial commodity, either row crops, orchards, vineyards, or in your case, dry farming. And so that would be one of the considerations is getting the history of how much is and what's dry farmed and what's the value of those commodities. Does this property have its own well on site?
Yes.
Okay. And I don't think there was any structures or anything on that property, or,
The house?
oh, there is, okay. Okay. So that would be sort of the same process too, is that, we were talking about the replacement contract. So since, this is sort of the remainder of the original contract, you would need to apply for a replacement contract for this parcel and you could go to the Foster Road and they could help you out with what materials that you need to submit with the application. And then it would still need to qualify. So we'd look at all of those, commercial ag production requirements and the dry farm. What is it, like oat hay, or what are you?
Oat hay, and then we
Okay.
have a walnut orchard.
Okay. So that would be, important information as part of the application in terms of the meeting the requirements for the new contract, is looking at the history of the ag commodities.
How soon does this have to get done? Realistically?
Sometime next year. The way that you're still under contract. I mean, even if you were to get, something in tomorrow, which is completely unrealistic, they're not going to go to the board and sometime next year. And then even in the board approves the contract, it doesn't take effect until January 1st of 2027. So you'd want to make progress in the next 6 months to get the application in is a good time frame. And then typically, you'll apply through planning and development. They'll sign it to a planner and it'll get on a future ag preserve. They'll look at the contract, make a recommendation, and then planning and development will take it to the board to approve the contract September or October of next year.
What happens if it gets denied?
So often, a lot of times when there's a transaction and maybe there's a landowner that no longer wants to be in the ag preserve program. If there is no activity and we've reached out to the landowners and either they express they don't have an interest or they're just non-responders, the committee would typically make a recommendation to the board to non-renew the contract. And so that would go kind of the same process. It goes back to the board, typically towards the end of the calendar year, next year. They would record a notice of non-renewal against the property. So that would start the non-renewal. It's still under contract, but it's going to be it's 9 years, and then each year reduces the contract. So technically it would be under contract for another 9 years, but during that non-renewal period, the preferential tax assessment that the land is receiving would start to diminish, and it would reduce back towards whatever the Prop 13 value of it. And then after the 9 years, it would be out of contract. So if the landowner either isn't interested or they're non-responsive, that would be the pathway the county would seek to recommend non-renewing the contract.
So it'd be the same though if you deny it.
Yeah, if there wasn't sufficient, if there wasn't sufficient agriculture to meet the requirements, then that would be the same process that the committee would recommend non-renewal.
Yeah, so that,
And we would want to, we'd want to clearly know your interest and the reality of, if we think we wouldn't want you to go through the cost of going to a replacement contract and just to be denied.
What's the cost?
I don't have the I think I'd have to look up what the application fee is for a replacement contract. I can get you that information. It's on our website. Yeah, I mean, certainly we're open to answering those questions and looking at the different ag commodities that are on the property and whether or not we think it would meet the uniform rule requirements. And then that would be information that you can decide whether or not you want to pursue the replacement contract or not. Or, conversely, if we thought, it wasn't sufficient enough agriculture to meet the uniform rules, we'd want to give you that information ahead of time, just so you knew that. And if that was going to be a likely income that at the committee, if you went through the whole process and the end result was a recommendation that you didn't meet, or you weren't eligible for the new contract, we wouldn't want to put you through that cost and time. So, certainly, as I mentioned, reaching out, continue our conversations with Stephanie Stark, the chair, and myself. We can answer any questions you have as far as whether or not the agriculture and the property itself would likely be eligible for a new contract.
So you both have the option, whether, Mr. Minetti or you, Mr. Smith, if you want to just let the process go and just let this be a county-initiated non-renewal, that is one option. The other option is to, file for a replacement contract, which I'm hearing Mr. Minetti is interested in doing. But then you have the option of doing your own, we call it owner-initiated, not the county. This is an owner-initiated non-renewal. It's the same thing. It's a non-renewal, but this is maybe something that you want to choose to do because you don't want to go through all the, the whole process of, spending the money and then going through the whole process of trying to meet the requirements. I'm looking at your Proposition 13 value and what you're getting in terms of Williamson Act benefit. In your case, Mr. Smith, it's not that big of a difference because you have a really old base, what we call ownership base. This property has been owned by your family for many years. So the increase, if you were to non-renew this contract, is not going to be significant. It's going to be, I think you're looking at, just look at here, going from 170,000 to 210. So 30, 40, it's in terms of taxes, like a $400 increase on your annual taxes.
All said and done.
About. I'm not going to, but yeah, that's if nothing happens, if the ownership remains the same, because then if you have a change in ownership, then the property gets reassessed, and then the
saying is from what you're saying, not holding you to an exact number, but roughly if we quit and we don't do this at the end of 9 years, it will be $400 more a year.
difference, right? Around that much, yeah. Just so you understand all, what's going to happen, the consequences of if you decided to non-renew the contract. Obviously, if you decided to continue and file, which is, we encourage everybody to stay in the program. Even if you had a change in ownership, your taxes may not increase as much because you're still getting the benefit of Williamson Act. So that's just thinking, that's for you to consider for future, what you want to do. Do you want to sell it? Do you want to do, if it's going to go through a change in ownership is what I'm trying to say.
And Sergio, just in terms of the timing, if it is a non-renewal, the most of that change in the benefit, it happens in like the first couple of years in non-renewal. Is that correct? That,
Mhm.
um,
Most of the increase,
likely come back up to your Prop 13 value within year 3 or 4,
so
be closer to that
Correct.
value.
out of the $400 increase, perhaps 350 is going to happen within the first 2 years. And then the rest is just slowly catching up because there's, most of the increase happens in the first couple of years.
So yeah, I mean, so that'll be information that you would want to weigh, obviously. I don't have the exact amount, but the value of the cost of the application is more than the $400 a year. But I can get you that information as to, just so you have all those considerations. And so as far as continuing the process, I'll coordinate with the chair, Stephanie Stark, since she's made initial contacts with both of you, and we'll reach out to answer any additional questions. And then and I can provide Sergio's numbers too, because Sergio's from the county assessor's office. So if you have information or questions on sort of the assessment and valuation questions, that he could certainly answer those.
Sure. I full disclosure, I actually did have a phone conversation with Mr. Smith. You can always call me anytime if you need.
And so, yeah, as far as today, is there any other additional questions we can answer for you? So the way I think we'll, for this committee, since it was on the agenda, really as just a discussion to start the process and answer, what we normally do is like, we'll continue this to track it, for like 6 months, and during that time frame, I know both of you will, be getting more information and either making a decision one way or the other. So this is going to be tracked. It's likely that we may continue this to March or something, just to see, has there been any progress one way or the other, on either getting a replacement or potentially, owner initiated non-renewal. No, the contracts run with the land, so it's always a 10-year rolling contract, unless the county initiates non-renewal or the owner initiates non-renewal. And if once those get recorded, then the contract starts that 9-year remaining, 8 years remaining. It's a countdown, but there's always, as long as there hasn't been any action to non-renew the contract, it's always a 10-year rolling contract. So the contracts run with the land. That's why when the new owner, purchased some of the property that was in the original contract, it's still under contract, but because of the multiple owners, that raises, inconsistencies with the Ag Preserve program. And so, but yeah, to answer your question, it's always a rolling 10-year contract.
And any change, any update or change becomes effective on January 1st. We are already in November, so nothing's going to happen on January 1st, 2026. It will stay the same, but the following January 1st, that's when hopefully we'll know by then, by January 1, 2027, whether you decided to replace the contract or non-renew, and that's when the changes will be made to the assessment, to the value. So you're good. So what I'm saying is this renewal, this automatic renewal, David is saying, it's an automatic 10-year renewal, will happen in January 1st. So there's nothing's going to change. Everything will be the same in terms of your assessments. And, but we're hoping that, you know, we'll continue the conversation and we'll find out what's going to happen for the following January 1st.
Okay. Before we take a motion, is there any members of the public that would like to speak on either item 5 or 6?
We do not have any public comment.
Okay, great. Look at my calendar here. Maybe April.
David, in the package, I included the meetings for next year towards the end, so you could kind
Oh,
of,
okay, great. Yeah, so I would make a motion that we continue both item 5 and 6, and I look to council if you're comfortable that we kind of group the motion on both of these, or do you want us to make a separate motion? Separate, okay. So I'll make this for item number 5 first. This is the Charles Minetti portion of contract 69 AP 073. Recommend that we continue this item to the APAC meeting of April 2026 to track progress on Mr. Minetti's potential replacement contract. And so that will be my motion.
I'll second.
we'll do roll call. Matt Baton,
Aye.
Sergio Ricardo,
Aye.
David Lackey,
Aye.
Alex,
Aye.
and then Royce Larson,
I,
and the vote carries 5-0.
Okay, great. Thank you. Then for item number 6, this is the Jesse and June Smith Trust portion of Ag Preserve Contract 69 AP 073. And I would recommend that the committee continue this item till the April 2026 APAC meeting to track progress on the Smith's potential Ag Preserve replacement contract.
Second.
And then we'll do roll call. Matt Baton,
Aye.
Royce Larson,
I,
Alex,
Aye.
David Lackey,
Aye.
and then Sergio Ricardo. Vote carries 5-0.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Smith and Mr. Minetti. And like I said, please, if you have any questions, contact Stephanie Stark or Sergio, and then I'll also probably get looped in to help answer any questions you have. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to move to item number 7, number 8. They're also kind of related in the same situation in terms of original Ag Preserve contract and portions of that contract are being transferred and sold. So first, number 7 is the William Warner-Cross portion of 69 AP 040. And I think Brett Jones is available and representing the Warner-Cross family. And while I am gonna try to find this on our aerial map, Brett, do you have any information on, or maybe I'll turn it over to Sergio first and he can
Sure.
recount the
And-
context of the
and
properties.
I did have a conversation with Brett, actually, I think it was Angela, about this, and I just wanted to put it on the agenda so that we just didn't, that it just didn't get this discussed. But same thing, Brett, nothing's gonna happen on January 1st. This is already very late in the year, so just wanted to you know, get the conversation started on this one. I think Angela brought it as a discussion item as well. So but yeah, so there's on the screen. And the interesting thing is that the other parcel that was part of this contract, the Skylar in item number 8, I don't know if we can do that, but it's the same contract.
So
Is
that's the one I'm showing here.
Yeah, the large.
Right.
Correct.
So
So-
that was the parent contract,
Correct.
and then
And
this
it
portion was
shared that
sold off to the
portion
Warner
to the
Cross.
north, right, northeast. So yeah, it just came up because of the other changes in ownership. And just wanted to bring this up, mostly because of the Skylar La Regine property, the one to the south.
All right. And so Brett or Angela, any updates on the Warner Cross property?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. We kind of panicked earlier in the week because we had turned in the replacement contract and it was assigned to Adam. And we looked online and then none of the documents were there. And then we realized that this was related to just you guys bringing it up, not yet the replacement contract item. So yeah, we're working on it. We've turned everything in. Adam has it. It's 25 AGP 11. So it sounds like we'll be before you. I don't know if it's next month or not, but we definitely have it and we'll be prepared to review it with you guys at the appropriate time.
Okay, great. And yeah, maybe we'll just deal with this one first since we've got information on it.
Drop it, or I mean, I'm okay with dropping it, or we
I think we would normally in this way,
keep it together.
we'll track it. So I would recommend that we continue it to January just for tracking purposes, and then we'll keep following when it. Yeah, we know that the application's in, so it may be in December or maybe by January it should be on our calendar. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak on item number 8, the Warner Cross?
We do not have any public comment.
Okay. Any more discussion from committee members?
No.
Royce, all right, thank you. So I would make a motion for the William Warner Cross portion of contract 69 AP 040 that we continue this item to our January APAC meeting to track the application for a replacement contract.
I'll second.
We will do roll call. Matt Mayton,
Aye.
Sergio Ricardo,
Aye.
David Lackey,
Aye.
Alex.
Aye.
And then Royce,
Aye.
and vote carries 5-0.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Brett.
Thank you, Brett. And then for the related item, the sort of the parent contract of 69 AP 040 was the portion owned and retained by Laura Jean Schuler. And I know that Chair Stark had been in contact with Mrs. Schuler. I don't know if she is online.
Yes, she is online.
Okay,
You
great.
could go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, Ms. Schuler, can you hear us? What is the steps you need to unmute? Maybe she
Yeah.
doesn't know that.
You can dial *6 to unmute yourself.
Okay, I did. I'm here, Lara Jean
Oh.
Schuyler.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
Thank you for attending. I know that Stephanie Stark had been in contact with you. And so I
Yes.
wanted to see if there was any additional questions that you have of our committee.
well, the main property on Central and Leggy, the 008, my dad purchased in 1944 and has owned it. And I'm not sure when he bought the other property and sold it across Central. And it's it's always been farmed by him, and then Rob Guerra, it's been leased with him since '85. And there's no buildings, there's a well, and it's all for farming. So do I need to reapply?
Yes, the pathway forward, since you obviously are interested in staying in the Ag Preserve program, would be to apply with planning and development to get a replacement Ag Preserve contract for this parcel 008.
Okay,
And I had and just for disclosure, my conversations with Chair Stark, and then I also had reached out to Mr. Jones, since he's involved in the other piece that we just talked about, the Warner Crows. And he offered to be available to answer any questions, to assist you on what material and how to go about submitting the information. And so I provided his contact, as you know, into the email I sent you. So certainly
yes,
reach out to Mr. Jones, and he's a very knowledgeable resource of helping you through the process. But looking at everything with the, it's always been in ag. There's no structures. It's got water. I don't see any issues with, getting a replacement contract. It's really just going through the steps and going through the application process.
okay. And so do I start with him online or do I go to an office or?
Maybe reach out to Mr. Jones, and either through email, or I provided his phone number as well, and
Sure.
he can kind of give you some just general information about the process. And since a lot of our applications are submitted online, it can be a little bit of a mystery of what steps you need to do, and that's, I think, another value that Mr. Jones can help you with.
Oh, okay, thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Okay, great. Let's see, are there any members of the public that would want to comment on item number 8?
We do not have any public comment.
Okay, great. And since there may be a little bit more time in terms of tracking, I would suggest we push it out a little bit more. Recommend that we continue this item to the March APAC meeting to provide opportunity for the owner to go through the process and start the submittal process for a replacement contract.
Okay,
And that's more just a tracking for our purposes, and also to give you time to get the information together and submit the application, and then it takes some time for it to get on a future agenda. So it's more of a tracking for our purposes.
okay, great. Thank you.
Before you make the motion, Mr. Chair, just want to repeat what I told the previous owners. It is definitely your, you have two options. One is to do the replacement contract. Obviously, we encourage that. The other option you have is to do the non-renewal, do an owner initiated non-renewal if you wanted to not be under Williamson Act. Definitely it is, this is your choice. This is whether, whatever you want to do. Just to give you some information, you also have a very low Proposition 13 value. So your actual assessment wouldn't change whether you do the replacement contract or go into non-renewal. The taxes that you are paying every year for your property would not change whatsoever. The Proposition 13 is lower than the Williamson Act value, and that is because of the land use that you're the land uses on this property. This irrigated crop is valued a little higher. So just wanted to provide that information before, and you can decide. We'll make a motion to continue the item today. And if you have any questions about that, you can also contact me, or you can also contact David or um, uh, Ms. Stark have any questions?
Okay, I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Sergio. And so, yeah, I would make a motion that we continue this item to our March meeting to provide opportunity for the owner to seek a potential replacement contract.
I'll second.
And then we'll do roll call. Brad Mayen,
Aye.
Sergio Ricardo.
Aye.
David Lackey,
Aye.
Alex.
Aye.
And then Royce Larson,
Aye.
and then vote carries 5-0.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ms. Schuyler, for attending and being available. And certainly I encourage you to reach out to Mr. Jones and he can, or any of us, and to answer any questions that you have.
I appreciate the time also.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Brett. All right, we'll move on to item number 9. This is the Chevron USA Inc. Property, which many of us are familiar with. So the reason why it's on our agenda, so as you recall, this was part of the other larger Casmelia LLC contract, and it was another example of a portion of that contract being sold to Chevron USA, and having to then contract the landowners to seek potential replacement contracts. And went through the process, notified the owner or representatives for Chevron USA, didn't get a response, and so committee had recommended that the board non-renew that portion of the contract. That consideration of the non-renewal went to the board of supervisors on October 21st. The item got pulled for discussion, and the board had taken a motion to not at this time pursue the non-renewal, but to send it back to APAC, to reach out to Chevron USA one more time to give them an opportunity to see if they do in fact want to stay in the Ag Preserve program and pursue a replacement contract. And so wanted to report on the board's action to refer it back to our committee. And so the pathway forward would really be to kind of start the process again, recommending that the chair would send the owners a 30-day letter, that we're going to put this item on the agenda for future discussion of ongoing eligibility. And so that would be, my suggested recommendation today is that that would be part of our motion to start the process with the 30-day notice.
David, I believe Adam's online and he might have information to add to that. Adam?
Hi, Teresa. Thanks. Hi, members of the committee. This is Adam. Yeah, I just want to let you guys know, sorry I'm running late. I joined late here, but I am available for any questions. David did a great job kind of giving an overview of how we got here. So I just want to let you guys know I'm here and available for any questions. Appreciate your time.
Okay, great.
I have a question, Adam. The Board of Supervisors understand that by delaying this decision, we're essentially giving another year of a discounted tax for this property owner. I guess that's my question.
Yeah. I can't speak to their understanding of what the process is like, or that we are indeed extending their tax benefit for another year. I believe just from the comments that Supervisor Nelson raised during the hearing is that his primary concern was that members of Chevron were not adequately notified. That wasn't the case. They were properly notified. I think the issue stemmed from us not being able to or our notices not being able to reach the proper contacts over at Chevron. It's a big company, as you know. And the address that they listed was a general office over, I believe, in Kern County. But I do believe they have an understanding that this does extend their tax benefit for another year. I'm not sure that's a concern to them. But that's my understanding of why this was brought back to you again, was that Supervisor Nelson believed that they weren't properly notified. So that's how we are here today.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Thank you.
Oh, no, not at all. That's my job.
Are there any members of the public, Teresa, that would like to speak on this item?
We do not have any public comment.
Okay. So with that, I would make a motion that the APAC requests the chair send a 30-day notice to the property owners and also other means to try to provide to assist with finding the appropriate contact persons to engage with on the owner's ongoing eligibility for and potential seeking a replacement contract for this property.
Then we'll do roll call. Madam Mayton, Sergio Ricardo,
Aye.
David Lackey,
Aye.
Alex,
Aye.
and then Royce Larson,
Aye.
and then vote carries 5-0.
Okay, great. Thank you. And thank you, Adam, for being available. Move on to discussion items. So before we get to the item number 10, well, let's do item number 10 first, and then I have an ad hoc discussion item that I just wanted to take advantage of Royce's attendance today. So item number 10 was to consider, so for next year, our meeting in February 12th, I wasn't available that day, and I talked with Chair Stark of whether or not the Ed Commissioner's office would be available for us if that worked for everyone else. And she said that the Friday, February 13th is available. And so I wanted to run it by the committee to see if committee members are open to moving our February APEC meeting to the 13th. That would be at the Ed Commissioner's office. Any concerns or conflicts?
It sounds good to me.
Okay.
Available? Yes.
The only thing with myself is that usually I have my CBAR meetings the day after APAC.
Okay.
So I would just have to touch base with the other secretaries to see if I could get coverage.
Okay, so why don't we follow through on that to see, so tentatively, at least we don't see any conflicts for the members, but yeah, we want to make sure that it works for APAC support. And so,
My calendar's open, so yeah.
It would be in Ag Commissioner's office.
yes, over on Kyriel.
Would a later time be okay, like a 1 p.m.? Just in case.
That would be fine with me. I'm wide open on.
Yeah, I don't have.
I
any
keep the
time.
9 a.m., but just in case.
Yeah, I don't have. Royce, do you have any time conflicts? Like if we started
No.
at 1?
No.
Okay, so that'll be an option too.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, thank you. So we'll report back when we get more information on that, but that's a potential change to our calendar for next year. And then I wanted to at least raise a question that I received regarding, so as you all know, for our non-prime contracts and our commercial ag production, they're typically based on traditional cattle grazing operations. That we look at that the property has adequate fencing, has a secure water supply, and they're either running the cattle themselves or they have a cattle lease for the property. I mean, that's kind of the minimal requirements that we look at. And so I got a question posed, well, what about someone's not doing cattle, but if they're raising and grazing goats? I don't know much about cattle, but I know less about goats. And at least part of that question was also the fencing, because at least the person posing the question asked, a lot of the times when they have a goat operation, they have more temporary portable fences that they can move around on the property to manage what portions they graze, rather than having more substantial permanent fencing on the property. But then also, I think my question would be, as far as, what's a viable, minimal animal units that, you would consider to have a viable goat operation versus a cattle operation. And so I kind of wanted to run any of these questions by Royce for some initial thoughts or questions. And certainly, it's more of a, let's, kind of ponder it, because there may be some potential projects, as we've seen, over time, when these lands, they're no longer doing cattle, they're doing some other type of ag commodity. And at least this is a different, at least animal husbandry type of component that we haven't really encountered in the past. So I'll turn it over to Royce if you have any thoughts on a goat operation.
So even if it's cattle, the rules don't really say how many cattle you need to be viable. And that's always kind of bothered me a little bit, because literally you could have one cow as long as it's commercial and you sell it. So I don't see a difference whether it's a cow or a goat. If you're grazing and you have the minimum 100 acres, then you meet the eligibility that are listed in the rules. Now, with that said, often, and what I've seen most with goat operations is, for the goats, there's usually a home place that they can keep them, but they often move the goats around and sell out the goats as weed eaters or brush eaters on a contract kind of a situation. And literally, as far as the fencing, you're right, it's temporary fencing mostly, but they almost always have guard dogs with them too. So to me, it's just, there's not much in these rules that says what's a viable operation. And I'll contrast that a little bit with San Luis County, where quite a few years ago, they changed their minimum requirements for grazing to 350 acres instead of 100, so that you quote unquote could have a viable livestock operation. I don't know, it's been a spot to me forever on that there's really not a definition of what is viable, other than if it's commercial and meets the 100 acres.
I think one of the differences that I see, which Royce just touched on a little bit, is I think there's a difference between a cow and a goat in that the cow is typically sold for food, and the program, the Williamson Act program, is one of the purposes is that it produces some kind of food product, or food fiber, and I forget the whole how it's set on the uniform rules. So what I'm hearing is Royce said that typically goats are sold not for food, but they're sold for, and I'm gonna put it this way, weed abatement, basically. So that would be the thing that I would that would kind of bother me, I guess, if they're not producing some kind of food or fiber or the rest of the requirements. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I wanted to make that point out that distinction that in my opinion, that I see. I don't know if you guys see that too.
If you look at, just to add, if you look at cattle's in the category of livestock. And that's food, fiber, labor, like what goats are used. If you look at the category of livestock, goats are included among other animals in that category too. That's another thing to ponder about.
mean, I might chime in, being from the old world and the Mediterranean climate, there is the natural habitat for the goats. Nobody raises cattle in those countries, and goats are, yes, weed and brush abatement for the fires, but also they are, they are consumed as food, and then the cheese. I mean, milk and cheese is a huge market at least in Europe, I think here as well. So this might be an opportunity probably in the future because of the climate changes. It's more natural than growing cattle in these areas. They have to migrate them after the spring and summertime up to higher elevations for pasture as far as the cattle. But yeah, goats might be an opportunity.
I would,
without being any expert.
yeah, I would suggest that there's more goat meat eaten than we realize. And there's actually quite a market for it. So, you're all correct in those thoughts, but in goats, the reason they use for weed abatement and such is because they're more of a browser than a grazer like a cow is. So, but goat and sheep, and like you were saying, Alex, the US and Argentina are really the two big countries in the world for beef. Everyone else is goats and sheep. And so it's legitimate and it's probably increasing.
Yeah, I think we all, as you pointed out, Royce, correctly, and as we're all aware, as far as our uniform rules, that's one of the kind of the areas that our regulations are pretty weak as far as the commercial ag production for the non-prime, because we do see, if you're not doing cattle, then what's the measure of what you need to be doing something? But what we see is something very minimal, and so hopefully maybe sometime in the near future it's something that we can raise and maybe have an amendment to our uniform rules to address that issue. But yeah, I think I think all of these are important considerations, because I anticipate we will see some of these situations. I would say kind of the scenario that I would have more heartache or heartburn with would be a situation where we may see a non-prime contract. They're not running the cattle, but they have a grazing lease that's someone that runs the cattle some portion of the year on their property based on the amount of forage they may have. If you replace the cattle with, well, making my land available and they're going to run some goats on there just for fuel management, and I think that's even another deviation away from the agriculture. But I think all of these are kind of considerations that our rules don't give us a lot of direction, and so but I appreciate, yeah, I think you're right, Royce, and just in terms of the basics of fencing, water, and they're doing something as far as running livestock. They would meet in many cases the minimum uniform rule requirements, but okay, yeah, I just wanted to kind of tease that up because it might come up in some future applications that have been hinted at. Any other reports from committee members?
Sure, I'll give the report on the recordings over the month of October. There was one assumption of contract. This is for contract number 98-AP-002. The assumption recorded on October 6th. And it was recorded by the new owner, Rancho Sierra Grande, and Gildred Stewart. And that was the only document that recorded it, affecting Williamson Act contracts.
I have a question I just found this morning. Interoffice mail. By interoffice mail, we received a short form contract from clerk of the board that is not recorded. So I don't know if it is a mistake, probably sent by mistake to our office. Does the clerk record these contracts, or is it assessor?
It's the clerk.
Okay,
The clerk records them.
so I need to check.
So you need to check with the
clerk to
clerk,
see,
and I would suggest that it's quick, because if it's not recorded by January 1st, then it won't be effective until next year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, those are they're recorded by the clerk.
Okay, great. Any other reports, committee members? Not seeing any. Still, Royce, no, how's the cooperative extension? Still kind of the challenges with staffing and.
The answer is yes. There's still the question. We just got a new 4-H advisor, and of course, with the new disaster resilient advisor came on. But I don't know, they're slow in getting traditional cooperative extension advisors. So I honestly, with Matthew, and Matthew Shapiro left the university, it's been over 2 years, and I don't see a movement yet to get him replaced. They talk about it and they keep trying, or our office keeps submitting that request, but when it gets to the upper levels, something else comes out. So it's to me, I don't understand why, and I don't know what's going on. But it's kind of frustrating. We're really thin on agricultural, our viticulture advisor's gone, our horticulture advisor's gone, our soils and strawberry guy, they're all gone. And I don't know what'll happen in the future. It's been really strange. I probably said more than I should, and it's not that I'm trying to
Didn't want to put you on the spot, but
talk bad, but that's what's happening. And I know Shannon is really trying hard, so.
You're not leaving soon then. We're gonna keep you for another 2-3 years, right?
No.
we need to clone Royce.
Yeah, so when are you?
My projection right now, I haven't set the date, but likely July of 26.
I guess hopefully we'll have a you guys get a replacement for you.
Yeah.
then.
And we have, Emma Volk who, Stephanie mentioned would probably be a good replacement until they got a new livestock person. She's in the Ventura office, and so it actually wouldn't be too bad of a drive for her to come to Santa Barbara. And she's on the Ventura Ag Preserve Advisory Committee, so she's familiar with the process. I don't know if that'd be overwhelming her though, to put her on 2 Ag Preserve Advisory Committees, but she would be a good option.
If it is not the same day, I guess would work.
Yeah, well, just the time it takes.
Yeah, prepare.
From, our other programs that we have to do and things. This is very important, but still it takes some time.
Yeah, and I'm sure we would, certainly defer to UC Cooperative Extension on what works best for their staffing but
Right.
yeah, we definitely would like to clone you and keep you as long as we can. But yeah, appreciate the update, and I know it's challenging, particularly in recent years for staffing, retaining the historic staffing levels. With that, don't see any other reports from committee members, so I will think our meeting is concluded, and we'll reconvene at our December APEC meeting.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, Royce.
Thank you.
Thank you, Royce.
Have a good
This
day,
is
Royce.
a much nicer drive, by the way, if this can be repeated.
And yeah, I mean, that's something we could talk to the chair and in the committee. So
Yeah, I mean,
something I can accommodate. So
yeah, if we can work that out and it meets our Brown Act requirements, certainly.
Yeah.
okay.
All right, great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Drive
you.
safe.